Jeffrey? All right, if not, Mr. Bloomer is back.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. And yeah, Jeffrey's done a great job of kind of explaining it here. And I'm here tonight to ask for your approval to grant these non-standard encroachments. And I want to remind everybody that this is a very unique lot with a 60-foot setback. And that's, none in the neighborhood have even close to that. Yeah. I was here to start off with previously to try to get a fence. That was denied. I accepted that denial. All these encroachments that are in there have been there, as Jeff has said, for many, many years. And they've been maintained by the property owners and will continue to be. So I'm asking the board to approve these non-standard encroachments.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Bloomer? Okay. All right. I don't have any cards indicating anybody wants to speak on this item. Does anyone from the public want to address this? If not, Mr. Bloomer, you really have another 5 minutes if you need 5 more minutes.
No, but I do have a question. I thought somebody had mentioned that assuming I get approval tonight from the Planning Commission, does this have to go to City Council or is it done and I can pull my permit?
No, you'll have to sign a license agreement, and that's done through the Public Works Department.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that process involved?
You know, I don't know off top, but it doesn't have. It used to go to City Council. It no longer needs to go.
Good.
No,
it doesn't.
No, they told me it doesn't need to go to City Council.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I have a quick question, Mr. Bloomer, while you're up here. Obviously, you're not here voluntarily. You're being asked to come and address this. And part of what Commissioner Nendick, I tend to agree that this is sort of digging up some old stuff here. I guess to be in compliance, has the city suggested what you need to do to make these non-standard encroachment standard? Is there, from your understanding, is that not how this works, or no? Can you educate me?
They're not going to be standard encroachments. They're non-standard encroachments. They'll enter into a license agreement about maintaining them. And
I think the fact that they are in the city right away is the problem.
Is the problem.
Is the issue.
Okay.
Right, but we don't have anything from the building department saying it's a problem.
No, it's just a problem by their mere presence, I think.
That's exactly it.
It's technicality.
Yep.
Okay.
If I may, one last thing. I do appreciate the Planning Commission and everybody here involved in being sympathetic to me, that like Ms. Nednick said, that this really should have been addressed when we were doing the backyard. Everybody walked through it, knew it was there. They knew it was there also because it was previous with the fence that I got denied. And I believe it was you, Chair Wade, that waived my fee. So, or at least the Planning Commission did, and I appreciate that. So, thank you.
Okay. We'll bring the matter back to the commission and for discussion.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Everybody's smiling, but nobody's speaking.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with approving this.
I don't either, because I don't know how you get down there without having steps, because there's a big drop.
Right.
So I think that, you know, typically we don't have steps because they're a liability, but going there, I don't see how you can get down there without steps, so, and safely down there, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think this is as Mr. Bloomer said, we're dealing with what I think is a pretty unusual, if not a unique situation with the deep city right-of-way. I think it's roughly, I measured it out, I think it's roughly 56 feet to 60 feet, compared to what looks to be about 15 feet for other properties in the area. Several lots in the surrounding neighborhood have pilasters, gates and walls, or fencing in the front setback over 3.5 feet. Mm-hmm. I think not to allow these features here would create somewhat of an anomaly for this property. It would look rather odd not to have a walkway or any features in the front and have it that stark appearance, I think it would perhaps even be out of character for the neighborhood. So I think considering the unique setback and the city right-of-way requirements, and considering that these features really have no adverse effect on any other property, I think I would certainly approve the miscellaneous application for the non-standard encroachments in this case.
Yeah, I'll make a motion if we're ready.
I think so.
I'll make a motion to approve miscellaneous application M04524 for 999 Paseo La Cresta.
I second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. You're always welcome to come back, though. Thank you. Okay, our next item is item 5. It's a miscellaneous application for accessory structures exceeding 6.5 feet in height in the rear yard area at 1412 Via Gabriel. Okay, we'll go through the routine of asking if commissioners have any ex parte communications or activities pertaining to item 5 that are not reflected in the record that warrant disclosure.
I made a site visit to 1412 Via Gabriel. I made a site visit to 1412 Via Gabriel.
Yeah, I spoke to the applicant, Mr. Clark Corey. I also spoke to their neighbor at 1408 John Sheffield.
Okay, and I likewise made a site visit to 1412 and spoke to Mr. Curry.
And I as well did, made a site visit and talked to the applicant.
Okay, may we have a staff report, Jeffrey?
Yes, thank you, Chair Wade, members of the Planning Commission, and members of the public. Tonight's presentation is a miscellaneous application for accessory structures exceeding 6.5 feet in height, located at 1412 Via Gabriel. The scope of work includes a detached pergola with a height of 9 feet 8 inches in the rear yard, a fireplace attached to the pergola at a height of 8 foot 10 inches in the rear yard, and a stone veneer wall at a height of 6 foot 10 inches for pool equipment enclosure. Total lot coverage is at 44.38%, which is less than the 65 maximum allowed. The finding required to approve and staff's recommendation is in the staff report. This concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have for me at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Questions for Jeffrey?
Yeah, Jeffrey, the subject came up with regards to these structures. Are they measured from natural grade or from existing grade?
They're being measured from existing grade.
Yeah, I was confused about that. I thought it was because it was a building on it, but it's considered an accessory structure. An accessory structure is natural grade or existing, whatever is lower, so I was very confused about that. But Jeffrey explained it to me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions for Jeffrey? Okay, hearing none, we will close the portion of the meeting pertaining to the staff report and open the public hearing. And I have a card from Kelsey Fair, who I believe represents Mr. Curry.
Yeah, I'm just here to answer any questions you guys might have on the project. That's it.
Okay, do we have any questions for Ms. Fair? Okay, well, that's the shortest presentation I've ever seen.
I have one question. I just want to
I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy.
one quick question. I just want to confirm that all these structures are not within any setback, right?
That's correct. That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I do have a card from Fred Chow.
Good evening, Planning Commission. Thank you for the time. I'm a neighbor to the rear of the said property, and I'm only here because I wasn't aware of the structures that were being produced from this project. And Upon hearing it, I have no concerns over it. I was only concerned with the view from my backyard into their lot, but since they're, substantially lower than we won't even notice it, so I have
Okay. Well, thank
no
you.
concerns. Thank you.
Very much. Ms. Fair, you have another 5 minutes if you want to elaborate on your earlier presentation. Oh, no? Okay. Brevity is always appreciated. Okay, we'll close the public hearing then and begin our discussions.
I'll start. I think this is relatively approvable here. We it's 12 feet 6 inches from the neighbor's side yard to the Sheffields, who are at 1408 Via Gabriel. They won't even see it from their backyard. There's some elevation changes between the two properties. I think the location of the pergola and the fireplace, it looks like the applicant thought through this and kept it away from the property edge to mitigate any issues. So the neighbors are fine with it. This is the second neighbor now that has said that they're okay with it. So I don't see any reason why we would not approve this.
I agree.
I would likewise agree. I did visit the property, and it's interesting. Mr. Curry has a kind of a playground, swing set, and I think a little treehouse type of structure there, largely in the same area as the pergola and the fireplace, and relatively close in height to that. And my sense was, as I looked around to the neighboring properties, side properties, and to the rear, there's lush hedges and vegetation along the side and rear property lines, I think, that would largely obscure the views of the pergola and the fireplace. And I really see no issue with the pool equipment enclosure. So I think in the absence of any neighbor objections, I would approve the miscellaneous application.
I agree.
All right. I'll make a motion. Make a motion to approve the miscellaneous application for a new accessory structure exceeding 6.5 feet at 1412 Via Gabriel.
All right, I'll second. In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Wow. Okay, we will move to item 6, which is a miscellaneous application for an accessory structure exceeding 8 feet in height at 3821 Via Palomino. Again, I will ask commissioners if they have any ex parte communications or activities that are not in the record that need to be disclosed at this time.
I made a site visit to 624 Via Bodega and spoke to the resident, and she showed me where it was. No one else was around when I went.
Yeah, I visited the applicant, knocked on their door, nobody was home. I did walk around the fire trail, and I did not speak to anybody.
Okay, I went to the resident and kind of peeked towards the back of their property. There didn't seem to be anyone home at the time. And I did go next door and spoke to the neighbor at 3817 Via Palomino, Caitlin Stetson, who said that they had no objections to the project. I went around to the home in the rear, I think over on Via Bodega. I don't recall the number, I think it's 624. And I went there twice, but no one was there. So those are my disclosures.
I toured the property as well, the subject property, and was unable to contact anyone.
Okay, may we have a staff report, Jeffrey?
Yes, thank you, Chair Wade. Tonight's presentation is for a miscellaneous application for an accessory structure exceeding 8 feet in height at 3821 Via Palomino. The scope of work includes a 1,029 square foot detached garage with a height of 14 feet 4 inches in the rear yard. Also attached to that is a 800 square foot detached ADU, which will be reviewed ministerially. The proposed total lot coverage is at 35.6%, and the finding required to approve and the recommendation is outlined in the report. Staff's report, please, this concludes my presentation. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
I do have a question. If you have an existing attached garage that you're keeping, can you also then do a detached garage somewhere else on the lot?
Yes, yes, you can.
You can have two separate garages.
Yeah. As long as, the municipal code just outlines that you must have two, a garage with two covered parking spaces.
Right.
But beyond that is if they meet the lot coverage, fall within those requirements and floor area requirements. in the plan.
Because I know if you're a certain size, up to a certain size lot, you can only have 3 spots
Oh,
in
okay.
code.
Okay.
But this is bigger. But I just was surprised that you could have an attached and a detached, so I just wanted to make certain. Thank you.
Jeffrey, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I know this includes a AUD, and I know that we're not looking at the AUD. But I just need some clarification. On a prior property that we looked at.
Yes.
On this street, that also had an AUD on it. There was an issue with regards to fire access and so forth. I understand that's changed or something's happened. Can you clarify that?
Yes, so that requirement no longer meets state review requirements for ADUs, and so that requirement for the width of the fire road for fire safety has been removed from the code. And so now, essentially, and I don't want to go too deep into the ADU requirements, but essentially, if they're proposing a state mandated or state allowed ADU, which is an 800 square feet or less ADU with 4-foot setbacks, less than 16 feet in height, then it has to be reviewed ministerially and approved.
Okay.
But the question is that when you start seeing all these trellises and everything extending from that, state code doesn't dictate that. So then how does that get dealt with when they're, the structure's higher than whatever in the side setbacks or the rear typical rear setback? Would that then have to come to us to say, yes, you can put that structure in the back 15, if it's a 2-story house, the back 15 feet?
Our understanding is that that would still be part of the ADU, and we can get that, in reading the handbook, that was our understanding, we can get more
I
legal.
think that's something that should be looked into,
Sure.
because typically there's rules with the homeowners association
Yep.
that you can't have trellises and side setbacks and things like that. And so I don't remember reading anything in that code from the state that says
Right.
you have the right to have whatever trellises you want. I mean, you have the 800 square feet. Anything outside of that, I guess it's the city's right to make a determination.
Sure.
And as we just had to do the pergola, I
Yeah.
just think we need to be the same for everyone.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions for Jeffrey? All right, hearing none. Kelsey Fair is back.
Try to keep this brief. So just to address some of your comments, this project has been approved by the fire department. The architectural projections, so the trellises on the ADU were per the art jury, so those were to match the main residence. The main residence has similar structures, so it was to keep it in the style of the home. And I'm here to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, questions for Ms. Park? All right, hearing none. You have a full 10 minutes if you really
I'm
want.
all good.
Okay, thank you. All right, then we will close the public hearing and begin our discussion of the application.
We'll keep the same theme going here. This is a 25,000 square foot lot, and the space that they're putting this in is cleared right now. So it looks like without any neighbor objections, it seems like it's reasonable, it fits within, it's satisfying all code. I don't see any issue. I know the fire code seems to be a little bit of a gray area, but if the fire department signed off on it, I think we have their approval. So I'm inclined to support this.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't, the neighbor, the one neighbor I was able to speak to had no objection. She's the next door neighbor. I would think that the applicant, or I'm sorry, the neighbor at 624 Bodega would have a greater interest, but I was unable to speak to anyone there, and they have not submitted any comments indicating any objection, nor have any other neighbors, so our basis for approval is whether or not there's an adverse effect on any other property, and I see none. So I'm prepared to approve the miscellaneous application.
And I spoke to 624, and while she says it's kind of close to her, she's not going to fight it, so.
Not hearing any real neighbor objection. I don't have any problems with it either.
Okay, then I think, let's make a motion here. Okay, I would move approval of miscellaneous application M-033-24 for a new accessory structure exceeding 8 feet at 3821 Via Palomino, subject to the conditions in the resolution.
I'll second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Okay, moving right along, we will go to item 7, which is a neighborhood compatibility application, grading and miscellaneous applications for an addition and remodel to an existing single-family residence at 529 Via Media.
Recusal.
I have to recuse myself because I live within 300 feet.
Okay. All right, Ms. Nendick is recused. Before we proceed to the staff report, I will ask if the remaining commissioners have any ex parte communications or activities pertaining to this item that are not reflected in the record and warrant disclosure at this time.
I viewed the subject property, but did not speak with it.
Yes, sorry, were you finished? Sorry, I'm just trying to collect my notes. I met with the neighbor across the street, Kathy Bobian, and I'm forgetting her address. I also spoke with John Nendick, who also lives across the street and a couple houses over. I attempted to visit the applicant. Nobody was home. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, I likewise visited the property. I did speak to John Nendick at 508 Via Media, and I went also to the home of Ms. Covington at 520 and observed the silhouette, spoke to her, and went further down the street to 524 and had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Holman about the project. Okay, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Chair Wade. Tonight's presentation is a neighborhood compatibility grading permit and miscellaneous application for an addition and remodel to an existing single-family residence located at 529 Via Media. The application includes neighborhood compatibility for an 818 square foot first floor addition, a 505 square foot basement addition, 459 square foot garage, and 4 square feet of hardscape. Also includes grading due to the quantity of cut and fill exceeding 250 cubic yards, and then a miscellaneous application for driveway gate in the rear exceeding 8 feet in height, and a wall exceeding 42 inches in the setback adjacent to the street. That's the wall. It's like a decorative wall right pretty close to the entrance of the home. All of this is located on a lot with a size of 14,300 square feet. The proposed total floor area is 5,981 square feet. I do have to make a correction to the staff report. The maximum allowed says 5,210 square feet. It should actually be 6,040 square feet. The proposed floor area comparison is at 160% of the average floor area of existing homes within a 300-foot radius. Proposed floor area ratio comparison is at 98%. Proposed total building coverage is at 29.9% with 30% maximum allowed. Proposed total lot coverage is at 64.4% with a maximum of 65% allowed. The proposed maximum building height of the addition is 18.5 feet when measured from an intersecting natural grade elevation of 91.6. And the findings required to approve are outlined in staff's report, as is staff's recommendation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have for me at this time. Thank you.
Okay, so Jeffrey, I'm still unclear whether the proposed project exceeds the allowable building coverage.
Right.
I understand that the unenclosed deck at the rear does not count in calculating building coverage, but what about the extension to the garage
Right.
below?
So and I spoke to the applicant today, and the applicant can speak to this. Per their plans, I believe it's sheet... Well, in short, the applicant says that the entirety of the garage is being included in lot coverage. But as you addressed, it doesn't appear that is so because,
I think it's shown on sheet 1.1.
yeah. A1.1, but I think there's another sheet, the lot coverage diagram.
Which it shows, it shows lot coverage, but this shows the extension of the garage out under the enclosed porch.
Yep.
It's roughly 11 feet by 13 feet.
Yep, exactly.
And I didn't see that that was included in the lot coverage calculation.
The applicant is saying that it is, so he would need to speak to that. But according to the lot coverage diagram, that is not being shown being included. I think he was saying that there was an error.
It seems to show the upper floor, but not the lower
Or
floor.
not the lower floor, exactly.
And my question also is, there's footage deleted. There's 7 feet deleted, which I understand, because that's outside the building.
Right,
And there's a reduction of 14 feet
right,
within the building.
right.
Looks like it's taken out on the second floor, but it would still be included, would it not, in the lower level?
It should be included if it is part of the ground floor. The applicant explained to me that the total floor area that he calculated for the stairs was 28 feet, and so he took out 14 of that wasn't part of the second floor.
Okay, but it's still included in the bottom floor, right?
It still would be, it still would be included in the
We're
bottom.
basically measuring the lot coverage from the bottom floor.
That's exactly it. That's
Yeah.
right. Right,
So I think I'm hearing you kind of agreeing with my questions here.
right.
Okay. All right. Any further questions for Jeffrey? Okay, I have a number of cards here, but first speaker would be Jonathan Park, who I think is the architect, correct? Okay. And maybe you can help me.
Sure, I can answer further questions to that extent. Good evening, commissioners. And I was gonna make a change and make revision to the numbers that came up. And in fact, on the sheet number 002 and A02, the entire garage area that extends below the covered area has been included in the building area and then went into the building lot coverage area. So so we could keep it below 30% threshold.
So where is it included?
It should be included in the garage plan.
Okay, so I'm looking at sheet A0.0, and it shows Area 1 addition, and it shows your removal of the 7 feet, the 14 feet, but it does, and it shows the extension of the unenclosed deck. But there's nothing that shows that that portion of the garage is included.
On A1.1, we do have a new one-car garage in the basement with the corresponding square footage there. 459 square feet for the garage.
No, does that include all the space out to,
Out to where the gate is.
under the enclosed deck?
Yes, sir. So there's two gates, one by the alley and the second gate inside from the alley. And we have counted all of that area as a part of the garage, which is under the covered deck area.
I guess what's confusing then is on the plans, it only shows the shaded area over the upper level, and it doesn't show the extension as included. If you see, it shows new extension or new addition. That's again back on sheet A0.0 shows area 1 addition. It's just showing the addition up on the upper level. It's not showing the addition on the lower level. That's what's confusing.
What I'm saying is that the area below, as part of a proposed garage with 459 square feet, has been added to the building area
Okay.
and therefore counted into the building lot coverage area.
So what is then is your total building coverage number, including that, if it's included somewhere? Because it's confusing from the other chart that you have, too, from building lot coverage. You show that list, and you show new addition.
So the total lot coverage area is 4,279 square feet. Which is the total building area, 4,279 square feet.
Okay, I'm still confused. On A0.2, you show building area table, and you show numbers A through K. I don't see 459 square feet in that list.
The 459 square feet is on A0.0 under proposed floor area. Under the garage section, which says 459, proposed floor area. A0.0.
Okay, again, you show 3 areas as part of the addition. Number I, J, and K. That does not show the extension of the garage. So I don't see the square footage for the area under the deck included, unless I'm missing something.
Can I have a minute? I need to consult to my staff.
Actually, if you want to go ahead, I'll tell you what, why don't you make your 5-minute presentation, whatever's,
Okay,
I've questioned
then we go over that later.
beginning, so you haven't had an opportunity yet, so I jumped on you a little quickly. So if you want to go ahead and do your 5-minute presentation, and then when you sit down, you can do some more homework, and you can answer it in the second 5 minutes that you have.
Okay, so for this project, we had 3 silhouette construction and then 2 neighborhood meeting. And we had a good amount of input and comments from the neighbors surrounding the property. And we took all of those comments and made changes to the roof line and made changes to the floor, proposed area, the finished floor area, where when before it was over 18 inches from the existing living area, we made 12 inch below the existing living area. So in overall, we had 30 inches changes into the mass going below the existing living area. And also we changed the roof line several times so that the existing 16 feet ridge line running east-west was cut in half by 50%, which amounts to be 10 foot 10 inches from existing living area projecting towards the east, 10 foot 10 inches, 50% less than before, and then we lowered the new ridge line for the addition area to 14 feet, 2 feet less from the previous ridge line, and then as moves towards the cover area ridge line, we made that to be 12 foot 9 inches, and it was all of this was possible because we changed the gable roof to hip roof, reducing the angles and mass, and then make the visibility concern from the neighbors to be much more adaptable or acceptable, should I say. And that was the main changes to the design, lowering the finished floor, keeping top plate heights for the proposed addition to 8 foot 2, and then keeping the cover area top plate level to 7 foot, and then making it our hip roof, as I said before, and reduces the roof mass considerably. That we think that we did address the concern from the neighbors across the street. And that's evident in the sheet A 3.0. And on the section AA, which shows step-down roof lines reducing 16 feet to 14 feet to 12 foot 9. And also we have included 3D renderings towards the end of the page, so you can see the changes we made in successively with the 3 silhouette changes, and you can see the differences in the mass and the roof line, opening up the view for the neighbors too. We did consider one reason that we kept the cover roof area covered is because we do have some, this is for the owner, that we're having a pool in the backyard and then having a view from across the street into the patio area in the back. Is, we do have some concern over our privacy to be using the pool area in the backyard area without being pried upon or without the privacy issue. That's all for now.
Okay, you have 5 minutes remaining, and we'll come back to you.
Mr. Parks, sheet AO Point two, if you could, on your next 5 minutes, please confirm to the Planning Commission that that sheet is accurate, because that's what they're referring to regarding the lot coverage, how you have the lot coverage all figured out.
Okay.
Okay, we have a number of, I have 4 cards. The first speaker will be John Nendick, followed by Norman Eagle.
Excuse me, can you pass these out to? Shall I go ahead, Chairman Wade? I should go ahead. Okay. Good evening. My name is John Nendick, and I live at 508 Via Media across the street from the applicant. This commentary supplements the more detailed letter that was submitted on September the 13th. I request the Planning Commission deny the proposed plans and give the applicant input to 1. Reduce the ridge height of the proposed new wing by at least 3 feet. 2. Remove the roof of the outdoor entertainment area. And 3. Remove the extension of the main ridgeline to the east. The proposed addition unreasonably blocks the ocean and sunset views from the primary living and eating area of our home. Here are the reasons. Firstly, neighborhood. Lower Malaga Cove in general, and Via Media in particular, is a terraced community where homeowners generally prioritize ocean and sunset views over lot size. Most homes are single lots, with some on double lots. Homes on double lots that have gone through the Planning Commission process successfully have not been approved to take away neighbors' views. These include 421 Via Media, 505 Paseo del Mar, and our home at 508 Via Media. In fact, in order to accomplish minimum view impact to our neighbors, our remodel included ceiling heights in our bedrooms of less than 8 feet and a roof pitch of 3 and 12. The applicant's home is on a double lot and, in my opinion, can follow a consistent approach and not need to block neighbors' views in order to achieve their remodel goals. 2. Second bite at the apple. This is the second add-on requested by the applicant since they moved into their home. The first process increased ridge heights and blocked neighbors' views over the west side of the double lot, with neighbors thinking this was a compromise as views on the east side have until now remained open. 3. Increased square footage. I attended the neighborhood meetings during which the applicants indicated their goal was to increase the square footage of the home. In fact, the proposed plans as submitted result in greater than maximum allowable building lot coverage. There are practical and reasonable ways this can be done without the proposed increases to ridge height to the east, namely bringing the proposed first floor level close to natural grade. So, in summary, our proposal is to 1. Reduce the ridge height by 3 feet by stepping down the new proposed east wing situated on the lower of the 2 lots by lowering the proposed new first story of the home closer to natural grade. 2. Remove the roof of the proposed outdoor entertainment area. We take exception to the idea that an area that does not count towards allowable square footage or building lot coverage will remove neighborhood ocean views, and suggest an umbrella or other shade item over an open deck entertainment area could be a more reasonable alternative. 3. Remove the extension of the main ridgeline to the east, as lowering the new east wing will no longer require this new extension. Lastly, we ask that any approval include the 3 conditions stated in my letter and request that changes be silhouetted prior to the next neighborhood meeting. Thank you.
So, John, quick question. On the diagram that you just passed forward,
Yes, sir.
it shows a green area, and I guess I didn't identify this, but you say that this green area in front of the driveway, I'm sorry, the garage extension is covered as well?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Any further questions for John?
No.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Eagle.
Good evening. My name is Norman Eagle, and I live at 528 Via Media. My wife and I moved into our current house in 1986, 2 years before the neighborhood compatibility was passed in 1988, and very, very proud to be one of the Via Media residents to urge the City Council to pass it. They were very nervous, hesitant, didn't know it would hold up. We were a real force in doing so. The ordinance has helped residents ever since throughout the entire city. We supported the applicant when they did their first remodel in 2010, even though we lost a small portion of our view. A number of years later, they added solar panels on their red tile roof directly facing our house that permanently changed our view that we look at every day. We were not consulted and had no choice, nor did the city. It permanently took away from the fine view we once had. Now we are addressing another addition, and it will cause us and our neighbors to lose a part of our view. And after reviewing the plans, we believe they can accomplish their goals by making compromises. Please deny approval of this application until all necessary changes are made to protect views and privacy issues. We appreciate your time and effort that you put in. And I have one more comment.
Okay.
If you're going to give any suggestions or guidelines to the applicant or the architect, I know you're not there to design the changes. That's for the architect. But please be as forceful and specific as you possibly can, because unfortunately many of us residents throughout the years, we go back 88 for me and many others, multiple meetings, the architect comes back with barely making changes, and we go through meeting after meeting, tired. You get tired, we get tired, it's not right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, I have one more card. I think it is John Landerville. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, John Landerville, 532 Via Media. My wife and I have lived in the city since 2010. We recently moved to the Via Media house from Via Monomar. What I would state, we were traveling, so I didn't get the notice of the meeting until Monday, and we didn't have time to submit any formal documentation. We've been traveling in Europe for 3 weeks. But bottom line, any extension of that roof to the east cuts our view of the ocean and beach area from our main floor seating position. We have a dining room there. We also have a view area kind of coming into the property, and it would pretty much annihilate that view of the beach area. We would have, ocean view above the roof, but the view to the beach area would be taken away by any extension to the east. So we are slightly southwest of the subject property, and our view is basically to the north and to the east. So we would request consideration of not allowing that portion of the project, because it will definitely impact our view. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I just received another speaker card. It's 520 Via Media.
Kathy Bovian,
Okay,
please.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. I apologize about the card. I got them late.
You're anonymous.
I'm anonymous.
No, you look familiar now. I recognize you.
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for your time. So my name is Kathy Bovian. I am across the street from 529. My address is 520 Via Media. I'm opposed to this renovation as it is significantly impacting and blocking my existing views from both my primary living room and my family room, and where I spend all of my time. Slide, please. As you can see in these pictures, without the silhouette flags, my views are so beautiful, and now they will be reduced quite substantially if allowed. I believe there are possibilities to mitigate losing my views in the following ways. Change slide, please. Remove the roof over the covered patio entertainment area, which currently takes away a good portion of my views. I believe that the new wing's roof line should be lowered by at least 3 feet. This could be accomplished by bringing the first floor closer to natural grade. Change slide, please. I understand the renovations for homes that are on 2 lots, which my neighbor 529 has, should be built out with more square footage on the lower level, reducing the impact of the upper level of the neighbors. Number 4, I request that vegetation in the east side setback not exceed the height of the adjacent eaves, and vegetation on the rest of the lot not exceed the lowest ridge elevation on the lot. Change slide, please. No approvals by the director to increase heights in the building envelope and increasing or adding any walls, fences on the lot. Changes must go to the Planning Commission. The addition must have its height elevation surveyed by a licensed certified surveyor prior to receiving the final or occupancy permit. And last, I also have a letter from my real estate agent, Matthew Engel, who is from Engel and Associates in Malaga Cove. I purchased my home 2 years ago. I just moved into this area, and the silhouette flags went up 1 year later. In the letter, it states that the property's sweeping and expansive ocean views drove the value of this sale. Property on Via Media is well known for its commanding ocean view, and it is the quality of the property's ocean view that drives market value for homes on Via Media. Any reduction to the current view at 520 will have significant negative impact to the market value of the property. So in conclusion, I oppose the renovations at 529 Via Media. I believe that in allowing such additions to be constructed, a precedent would be set for other homeowners to do the same, could be further destroying the integrity of the beautiful views of our terraced neighborhood. But I thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the applicant, I have no others cards for members of the public to speak. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak on the matter besides the applicant? Okay, we'll come back to Mr. Park for 5 remaining minutes.
Okay, first of all, the extended portion under the cover deck area, as shown in A1.1, on grid line A towards the grid line A1, has not been added. You are correct. That portion that extends out from the grid line A, which is the extension of the garage towards the alley or grid line A1 has not been added. So we need to make that amend and move the door to the back to the grid line A. Yes, it has not been added. Yes, that's correction I can make.
Okay, let me see if I understand what you're saying. You're saying that the extension out to where the covered deck ends has not been added?
No. If you can relate to the grid line A and the floor plan on A1.1.
A1 what?
A1.1.
Yep. Okay, there's an area, it looks like it shows the door, and it extends out under the covered deck. Is that the area that you're speaking of?
Yes. Anything beyond grid line A has not been added to the calculation. So yes, it's the part that's under the cover deck.
Okay. Now, if you add that, you'll be over your allowable building coverage number.
Yes, that's why we need to bring the gate that includes the garage under the deck back to the grid line A.
Okay.
And that would solve the problem there.
All right. All right.
As to the many comments that we hear, I think they are important.
Okay, I had one other comment before. As I discussed with Jeffrey at the beginning, you remove 14 feet. It looks like it was on the upper level pertaining to the stairway, right?
Yes,
So that 14 feet is still included
in the building area,
on the
yes.
building area on the bottom, right?
Correct, yes.
So do we add back in 14 feet? Because we're looking at the bottom. We're looking at the garage or the bottom level. Do we include that 14 feet?
No, it shouldn't. We shouldn't, because when we calculate a stairway, there's two levels, first floor, the second floor. So we did count the bottom ground floor, but the ensuing opening,
I understand that you deduct it from floor area.
right.
But do you not include it in lot coverage?
We did include that in the area in the ground floor area. Yes, that's included in the building lot coverage area.
Somebody help me. I'm not sure I understand.
I believe, Mr. Park, you're saying that the stairwell area is included in your lot coverage number, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Does that help?
Okay, so I think it's added back in, is it not?
It's
14,
always been there.
it's already in there.
Yes.
So why would you take it out on the upper level? I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Because it's a stairway.
Well, I understand that. You're taking it out of floor area, but
Yes.
not lot coverage.
Because we already counted at the ground level.
Okay, well, you're going to have to modify your project already to meet the building coverage requirement. So let's just validate that 14 feet is included, okay?
Okay, we'll find a way to show you how we did the calculation. Okay.
Please do, okay. So let me, and while I've got you there, let me just see if I can simplify your proposed remodel and addition. And if you look at the south elevation, I think it's sheet A2.0. Basically, what you're doing is you're extending the existing roof ridge out about 10 feet to the east. And then if you look at the east elevation, which is sheet A2.1, you're extending the roof about 40 feet to the south. And you're raising the roof by about a foot, and then you're dropping it back to the level of the front ridge on that side. All right?
Raising it by a foot?
Well, if you look at A21, you see, if you're looking at proposed east elevation, I'm sorry, I can't, hard to speak into the microphone, look at this. If you look at the existing roof, you move over where you add the new roof, you're raising it up about a foot, right? And then it runs to the south?
Correct, because
And you drop it
the
down.
ridge line, yes.
There's another ridge line that's down about another foot, and that's the ridge for the cover over the unenclosed deck area.
Part of the new addition and also the cover area, yes.
Okay. All right, and if you look at sheet A3-0, section AA, this again is the east side, looking at the new addition. You have an area there, it's called new void area, right? You see it above?
Yes,
What is the new void area?
attic space.
Just added space.
Yeah, it's a section cut at a location that shows the slope of the roof and then the
Okay, so-
top of the plate. Yeah.
That void area runs back over the new bedroom, does it not?
Yes,
Okay, so conceivably, you could lower that roof in that area.
No, because we have to have a ridge and we have to have a eave line. So this particular section AA is cut showing the ceiling framing and then the roof framing at that particular location. And it happens to be an attic space beyond 8-foot to top plate line.
Okay.